gonna basically some random talking because I've been thinking a lot these days, and lately everyone I talk to is sick in some form or another, and I I don't I don't even know. I mean, I just can't believe that people get really stuck with diagnosis. Like I have POTS, I have Lyme, I have muscle activation syndrome, I have this, I have that. Well, no, you have a terrain that is dirty. Your nervous system couldn't keep up. You basically crashed, and then it will take as long as it takes to put everything back into place. you know. But people get far too stuck into all these diagnoses, and it's so bloody dangerous. That's what actually they want from us, and it's not true. Even with, I have anxiety, I have this. No, you have break too much histamine, probably flaring, and it's a neurotransmitter, so it's causing all these symptoms. You have DPD, you have these. I mean, stop it. I mean, most of the time it has the same root cause, which is toxicity, or probably trauma of some sort. Lack of coherence between yourself and what you're living and what you want to do, and this is when things go wrong and they get completely out of control you know so I mean, many times we just basically go and let's find a pill that fixes everything. There is no pill that fixes everything. You need to do the work, you need to do the whole thing, and it's going to take a while. And obviously, and for women is really important, the safety situation. Many of us, we do not feel safe, and the reason why, again, is feminism is so bloody dangerous. It really is. um, you know, the fact that women and men are different. I mean, there is an agenda going on with all this, and it's obvious. You see it even in the cartoons that your kids watch. And it's not normal. We are different, and this is what we have to celebrate: the fact that we are different. Therefore, our bodies work in a different way, and we just should not be pretending to be man when we are not, because what happens is that we get a ton sicker. I mean, don't get me wrong, men are obviously getting sick too, because the way we live is just not normal. But it's even worse for us, and the reason why it's worse is because we are not linear. We are not. Our hormones keep shifting, and we have to respect the way they shift. So this is something that also man should know, which is how to treat us in the different parts of the month, so we can live, all of us, in a more peaceful way, and understand that that we are not the same person all over the month. Like at the beginning of the month, you're energetic, you can do things, you can do stuff, go for a run, ovulation, do all this stuff, and it's gonna be the perfect timing. And then just basically respect the luteal phase where you need to be indoors, you need to be more relaxed, that you're probably gonna, if you haven't fixed everything, feeling like shit and tired. And it's normal. Your body is actually preparing for a pregnancy every month, and this is the way it goes. So pretending that this is not happening and actually trying to live in a world that does not respect this is making us sick as hell. I mean, women are basically receivers, and basically what we do, like an alchemist, is take that and transform it into something, multiplied. So you give us one bread, and we're gonna make 10 out of them. But what's happening nowadays is that all these roles are inverting, causing chaos, and then making man disappear as well, because they're telling kids that is not good enough for them to be, kids, a man, basically. And they have to be more similar to the girl, but they are not the girl, so therefore they're labeled as having ADHD or any kind of crap, which is not true. But obviously, neither of them should be stuck in a room for I don't even know how many hours, telling, being brainwashed, basically. You know, I totally get that the way it works, things have to be done this way, but not in the dialogue that they're being told about all this, and then, yeah. So I guess it's our part, these kind of systems are restored, no? Because it looks very nice to say, yeah, we need gender equality, all this crap. But guess what? Like, God, the ether, however you want to call it, created two different beings for a reason, and the equilibrium is in both of them. So, this is going to be incredibly important to heal as well, to start respecting all this, because this is, and again, one of the reasons why we are so sick in the first place. Trying to work like I used to do brought me to this place as well. And that was not the way it worked. I remember I was at the hair salon, whatever, falling apart. I couldn't cut the hair properly or do anything at all because I was falling apart. I mean, in a cloud, or far beyond a cloud. So, so yeah, I just don't want to even imagine how many women right now are doing that without, but so, I always believe there is a way around it. And before getting sick, believe me, because you're going to say, well, I have no choice, this and that. And yeah, probably you don't, but you can work towards it. You can think about it and find solutions. Because if you do get sick, first of all, you're going to lose all the money you have. And then you're going to lose years of your life, your family, your everything. So it is worth it. It really is. And yeah, and then if it happens and you actually do get sick like I did, it's beyond, beyond, beyond what people are living. I cannot believe it. I know many cases, some are harder than others. Mine was kind of brutal. Um, Remember that histamine, again, affects the nervous system, affects the brain, along with estrogen and so on. So it's very common, especially for women, which are kind of gaslit by doctors a lot, to have symptoms that are, panic attacks, all this kind of stuff that, they are, maybe you are not relating to anything like this. It's not that you're stressed. Your system gets into fight or flight mode, and that fight or flight mode stops your immune system from working. So if you are like that for long enough, guess what's going to happen? You're basically going to be immune suppressed for a really long time. On top of that, insulin resistance going to do the same stuff. It's going to suppress your immune system. This plus radiation, if you know, obviously your liver is not going to keep up. So you might have estrogen dominance and fibroids or endometriosis, whatever. Eventually, you're going to crash. So it is very, very, very important to work on this. And I'm doing this video so people that are in this position where they have like slight symptoms that they are not feeling that they are doing the right thing can actually start working on those things, which I regret big time because no one told me that all this stuff was the same thing and I could actually fix it before it was hell on earth. And I almost died and I lost almost a decade of my life in this hellish situation. So, yeah, this is what Big Pharma doesn't want us to know. This is what, they are not teaching in schools. They are not, and we should know how our bodies work. And symptoms are not against us. Symptoms are signals that our body is trying to tell us. It's just that we ignore them for so long. In my case, I ignored them for almost, I don't even know, 2 decades at least, until boom, it was so bad that I almost died and I had encephalitis and it was brutal. So if you are in the stage still where you maybe you have this fatigue or fibroids and all that kind of stuff, and you don't really know what to do, and you've been told that you have 10 conditions which in fact don't exist. You only have a terrain that's gone wrong, a nervous system that's completely out of wire and in fight or flight mode, and and you're crashing and your insulin resistance. Start changing things. Change your diet. Start watching the sunrise, the sunset. Get out of chemicals as much as you can. Laugh. Remember that again, if you are very stressed or you have kids or whatever, you need to be good yourself first, or with your partner or whatever, because this is what's going to bring coherence to the kids as well. So many people forget about this too, and you need to kind of give this back to you so you can give it back to others. So yeah, it's like a delicate balance, which in the world that we live in nowadays, I believe everything works and acts as a mirror, and the mirror is going to keep reflecting this over and over again. And this is something that also happens if you are already sick. And then it's very, very, very common, which I totally get, because when you're really bad, there is no other way to expose the hellish, brutal situation that you are in. But if you keep yourself in the loop thinking how sick you are, how sick you are, we work as magnets. Guess what? You're gonna attract more sickness. It's really tough to do this, and obviously, it takes a lot of practice, and you're able to do it. The better you get, because you start thinking a bit more clear-headed, and maybe you have a bit more passion for life, whatever it is. But yeah, so So don't do that. Try not to get into these loops of hell and thinking how sick you are and talking in Lyme groups and all this stuff is just gonna make you sicker, you know. And I mean, I'm talking from deep knowledge here. When I was almost dying in absolute bloody hell, I had to imagine and feel at the same time that I was at the beach, that I was walking, that I was whatever it was. It was incredibly hard to do, but this is also what kept me alive. So this works. And then recently, I've been doing all this stuff and thinking, fuck, if you go back in your mind thinking of those moments, things actually come true. This is how we manifest, and this is maybe the lesson behind all these diseases too, to kind of remind us that we do have this power, that it's inside of us, and yeah. So thanks for watching. Have a good day, and yeah, see you next time.